welcome into my channel. So today we are going to learn how we can communicate with the Django application using the Python application. So in this video we are going to create a one Django application and we will communicate with that using the Python application. Means we will be going to create the web API and we will request from a Python application and we will try to get the response to calling the API endpoint. So before starting project I would like to clear about that. So for a Python, as a Python, the version is that I am using, so this is the command. So Python, the basically for 2.7 is a by default means default version. So if I want to check Python 3, so Python 3 is 3.10.5 I am using. Okay, and now as in last video I have shown you how we can create the virtual environment. So I am going to create a one virtual environment, then we will install the Django inside the virtual environment and we will activate and we will use with the Python 3 point. Okay, so now how we can create the virtual environment. As I said that virtual environment is a one tool in a Python that will give you the separate workplace according to your project requirement. So it will not bother you in any different project, means it will not give you an issue. So suppose for a multiple project you can keep the separate virtual environment to work on the particular project with the workplace. So here I'm going to create one virtual environment using Python 3. So I'll use Python 3 hyphen m, then venv space. So I'm going to keep one virtual environment name. So as of now I'm using the env and it should be in a double quotes. So the virtual environment will be going to create on the basis of Python 3 version. So I'll just enter. Yes. Now if I hit ls to check the list of the file or directory from this YouTube folder, so now we can see the env folder is available, that we can see the virtual environment tool of a Python. Okay, so before this I want to activate before the installing Django I would like to activate this virtual environment. How we can activate? We need to give the source path till activate. So my source will be from env space bin and the activate is that. Now you can see this is env here. So if you want to check the what libraries you have installed in virtual environment, we can use the pip list. In last video as I shown you, again I'm repeating this, okay, for a quick uh, information and all. So here you can see pip and setup tools is there only, so I'll just clear it. If you hit Python 3 version here, Python version here, you will see Python 3.10 on basis this virtual has been activated. Okay, so let's install the Django. So we are going to use the Django 3.2 here because 3.2 is compatible with the Python 3.10. So if you have any different version of Python, then you can just check the which Django app library is compatible with your Python version. So this is my mandatory, means in case if you want to implement but if you are facing the issue due to the compatibility, many time it happens. So I would like to recommend you that before going to install the Django, please check it on Google or any documentation page which Django is compatible. So in for a Python 3.10, so 3.2 Django is compatible, so I'll install that. Pip 3 install. Pip is a navigator to our Python script, and it will navigate the whatever versions we are going to install. It will tell that we have this and we are going to install this. Okay, so I'll use Django. D is a silent here. Django. So double equal we use to specify the a specific version which we require. So I'm entering 3.2, so I require this. I'll just enter it. Now you can see it collected the Django. Python is the dependencies libraries are these three, and successfully installed this Django 3.2. We can see here. So now let's start with the project. Okay, so how we can create the Django project. So we know that the Django project we can use the command which is available, Django dash admin start project. If anyone don't have an idea about Django, then they can also learn Django as well as Django REST framework from here. So the project name I'm going to give it is project Django project. Okay, we are going to create a Django application, Django app. So I'll just enter. Yes, now I'll hit ls. Yes, you can see the Django app is available now. Let's go to the Django app project. So I'll change my current directory to Django app. Now I'll just hit ls. You can see one more folder is there. Inside this Django app, by default, default files are available, and manage.py is available to run the server. And this is the main command utility file where we can execute the application with this file. So you can just go through the documentation of whatever Django version you are having in your system. So as of now I'm just giving you the short information about the Django, because we are not like completely creating the series like a playlist of the Django. We are going to learn the Django REST framework. Okay, so now here, so I have a Django, and let's try to run this python manage.py run server. Yes, now you can see the successfully the server has been started, because the development server has been started. This you can just ignore this, because these migrations as of now we don't require. Just check this, there is no issue with our application, Django application. Okay, I'll just close this. Okay, so now we need like a editor to create see the files and everything. So just I'll minimize this. Okay, and then I will open my PyCharm. I'm going to use the PyCharm. That in the last video I told you that we are going to use the PyCharm. Okay, so now I just opened my PyCharm. Okay, so here I want to open a project which we have created till from our terminal. So here in Ravi Shankar in a desktop, so we can see the YouTube is there, then we have a Django app. So I'll just open this and I'll just test project. Now it's opening. Now you can see here it is showing you the manage.py file, and db.sqlite3 is the default database is available from Django. So this is the advantage. This can take you up from small to medium level of projects if you don't install any different database server. Okay, this will work for you. So inside this, these are the files are available. As we know, setting we use to keep all the settings inside it, and in it it tells that this Django app directory is a Python package. So ASI for the async work, so where we can do asynchronously functions uses and all. So URLs that we mention the URL of for the action or the user response, and WHI file is our entry point, that when we are going to deploy our project on a server, so at that time this file will be going to take a request, and it will give a entry to the user or the request to solve the purpose of this application. So without wasting time, so I'll start. I'm considering that you have a basic idea about the Django at least. Okay, so let's start means open the terminal first. So now we can see that virtual environment is not available, so we need to activate it is here as well. So there are few shortcut ways are in a PyCharm, but I'm not going to use those because as of now the like doing a manually is a good practice. So after all, knowing these things, we are going to use the configuration part. Then we can just click on button and it will run your application. Okay, so my virtual environment is available in a YouTube folder, so I'll take one backward. Okay, so now check ls env is our environment, so I'll just activate it. source to env, then our bin, then our activate. I'll just enter. Okay, now I'll just clear this. Now again I will move to my Django application. Okay. Okay, so now we have a project here, so we are not going to create a application as of now because we will cover it later on. So now as of now, like we don't have a views.py file because Django is basically follows the MVT architecture where we models and templates and the views are present. So now actually views is not available in this folder, so we need to create that because we are working on a application level, I mean sorry, project level. So then we need views inside the project. So I'll just click on file, I'll just click on new, I'll take it is a Python file, so I'll just say that views. Okay, now views is like views file is created here. So before going to start this, so I want to tell you about how it will work. Okay, so means we are the motto of this video is that we are going to communicate with the Django application with the Python application. How we can do that? So here we need to be with the clarification of the function, how we can write the functions in Django and how we can give a response to the user after taking a request from the user. So after that we will going to use the Python file to communicate with that application. In a background application will be running Django application, and we will hit that application with the Python file. Okay, so let's start without wasting much time on that on this thing. Okay, so to write a function we generally go to the we just open the views.py now. So here I want to render the response, that is just one JSON response. I told you that we can pass a message to our user in a two way, that one is XML and the second one is JSON. So JSON is basically we use to serve the response to user. So we will return the response there. So before starting it, I'll take a one function name, that def function keyword, and I'll give a name, function name, that is uh, Django app test. I'll take. Okay, so here we know that first parameter, that is compulsory request, to take the request from the user. So I'll take request parameter. We don't have a logic, so as of now I'll keep it pass. Okay, let's create first a bone structure of this API, means the web API. This is a web API because we are creating this without a REST framework. Okay, just we are using the Django web API. So now I want to bind this with URLs. So let's open the urls.py file. So we don't need this much documentation part here. So I'll just clear this. Okay. Okay, now here I want to create one more URL. So I'll say that I'll use a path. I'll say home, then slash, comma. I want to use the function, means I want to render the response when user requests to this home URL. So before that we need to import it from our views.py file. How we can import that? From dot for the current directory, from current directory views, import home. Let's check home is available. No, it is Django app test function name is available. So let's take Django app test. So here instead of home I am using the test only, test slash, and here I'll use this function name. Okay, I'll just save this. Okay, now the bone structure is ready. We can say that see the function is available and we have created the URL for this function. So let's write the logic inside the views, means once we get the request, then this logic or whatever the response is available, it will return to the end user. Okay, so we are using the JSON here. So first we need to use import it. We know that the JSON is a JavaScript object notation where we can return the response in object So in Python we can use the JSON library which is inbuilt available. So before doing that, I'll just tell you that suppose if you have one dictionary, that means one object, dictionary object, so you want to convert it into like a JSON object, then you need to use the dumps function to convert it into JSON object. Okay, so before like you just go with this JSON library, just read about the dumps and loads, how those works, because those are going to like very important for us here in Django application. So without wasting time, I'll take up one variable, that is data. Okay, inside this I'll take just name as a key. I'll take my name. Okay, I'll take my surname here. Okay, then I'll use my age. It is integer data type, age is always integer. So now place, I'll take Solapur here. Okay, so this is the object, and we can say that dictionary, Python dictionary. So I want to convert this into a JSON object. Okay, because we can't return this as a web API, so we need to convert into a JSON object. So I'll use a dumps function from the JSON. So how we can do that, I'll take one more variable for more understanding. Okay, so convert data to JSON. I'm using the good naming here. So data. So before doing that, we can use JSON dot dump. Dump and dumps is there. Okay, so we need to use the dumps here. Okay, so because we want to convert this into that, so I'll use dumps instead of dump. So now it take one param means argument, this object means this method. So I'll take data. Okay, so now how we can return the response. Okay, so we know that to returning the response there are two ways. For a text data we use a HTTP response, and suppose if you have a template data, then we use a render function to return the response. So here we are going to use the HTTP response, so we need to import that. So I'll use, so I'm just following the pep8 rule. Pep8 what says, sub standard library should be at the first place and the second should be at the second place. So the HTTP response is from the third party library, means sorry, Django library. So we can import it from Django dot shortcuts import HTTP response, http response. Okay, so just copy this HTTP response here and just write a return, just paste HTTP response and just pass this data, Control C and just paste here. Okay, so now function is ready. Okay, let's check the application is working fine or not. So python manage.py run server is available. Yes, now application is working. Okay, so now we have a web API is available, so we need to call this with the Python application. So for that, how we can do that, let's go to our terminal again. So this web API and the endpoint of this API means the main domain or the URL is this localhost 8000. It is using the 8000 by default, means Django uses the 8000 port. Okay, and then test is our endpoint. Okay, so we will use that, and we are going to write a Python script to call the this web API from Django application. So just keep your Django application as it is running. Okay, on a local host. Let's go to terminal again. Okay, here, So in Django application I don't want to create that file, so I'll just take one backward from the current directory. So just clear this. So I want to create the Python file. So how we can create that? So here to create the file going to use the sudo nano, and I'm going to use the test.py. Okay, and it is asking the password. Okay, so now as of now I'm using the using nano editor, as I have good practice with that. So you can prefer any editor for creating a Python file. So how we can do that? Before writing a code inside it, okay, before writing the code inside this, I want to tell you one thing, that we need a library, that is a request library. We are going to request to a one application, means we have a Python application and we are just going to hit to the Django application, to that web API which is test. So for that we need to import, like install that library. So how we can install that? Normally we do pip install requests. Okay, so now I don't have a version because I have not checked the compatibility, because I'm creating this project to for a just better understanding before starting the Django REST framework here. So I'll just hit. So this will be like this is installed. Sorry, I can say that. Now let's just clear this terminal. So let's create the file. I'll use vi for now. Vi test.py. Okay, take a insert mode. So now we are going to request to Django application, we need to import requests. Okay, the second line, which is we need to take the URL on to which URL we are going to request. So I'll take base URL equal, so that is what it should be, a string http. Okay, http inside a string colon double slash 127 dot 0 dot 0 dot 1 dot 1 colon, it is 8000. Okay, and slash quotes close. See, http 127 0 dot 0 1 colon 8000. So next we need to write the endpoint. What is the endpoint we have created? We have created test. We seen in urls.py. Okay, now let's request to that. So I'll just take a r equals, I'll just use that library again, requests dot. So that is a get method. Okay, so I'll use get. So let's make a URL. How we can do that? There are two strings, we can just concat them. Let's take a base hyphen URL plus test. Okay, so now let's import the let's suppose if you have you requested to this get web API, so it will return the response to you. So how we can do that? How we can check that? Data equal r dot, so it will be a response. Okay, the web API response, we need to convert the response into a JSON. So I'll just use JSON. Okay, open close. Let's print data. Okay, so I'll give a string message, this is a response. Okay, so let's save. How we can save that? Escape colon qw enter. Okay, sorry, it's insert escape colon wq. Okay, file is created test.py. Okay, now we will open file again. See, so base url we can see in PyCharm, that is our application is working on this base url, and we can say we can see the test. Why we have given the test? Because test is here. Okay, so test is our url for the web API Django app test. So that's why I gave the URL here. So we are concatenating this. After the concatenation it will look like this. It will append here, and then it will request as a get method to our application, and it will return the response, and then it will print the data. Okay, now let's close the file again. Escape colon wq, as we have done the write and quit. Now I quit that. So how we can run this file? So I just want to run this file. See, make sure that your application is running in the background, because we have not hosted it, so it should be running on a localhost at least, to check with that. So python 3 we are going to use test.py. Just hit okay. So what it is saying, test is not defined. Let's check why it is not saying that test is not defined. We have given the string. Okay, what is the issue with that? So I guess there is a slash. Let's check. We have given a slash for that. So test is not defined. Okay, got it. Sorry, actually it is endpoint. Instead of that we have given it endpoint. Sorry. Now let's close the file. Yes, now you can see the name. We can see here. See, data, what was the data inside the web API? It was a name Ravi Shankar, surname Birazar, age, and this one. So now I'll just clear this and I'll again hit. See, here you can see on a terminal of the Django application, someone is requested as a get method, and it return the response in 200, that is okay response. Okay, so here you can see the data that is returned in a JSON dumps, means JSON object. It is showing in the JSON way. So as we have set the data, and it return the same data. So string message also there. This is a response. Okay, so now let's change something here. Okay, just add one more here.